I did promise you some international news, and the Ethiopian Human Rights Commission has implicated security forces in the killing of more than a dozen civilians last year in an incident that stoked tensions in the restive Oromia region. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres has called on all parties in the Ethiopian conflict to implement a truce to mark the Olympic Games and use the break in hostilities to provide relief to all Ethiopians. Kenya's President Uhuru Kenyatta echoed his sentiments and stated that the ongoing conflict continues to rob and deprive the people of Ethiopia of the dignity and honor inherently interwoven into their culture and civilization of their nation.
The Ethiopian human rights body has said that the victims of the attack in Oromia region were cruelly killed with gunshots in the presence of local officials and security officials after being arrested and forcibly taken to a forest. This is roughly 200 kilometers east of the capital, Addis Ababa. The EHRC has stated that it has reasonable grounds to believe that this amounted to extrajudicial killings. It said in a statement referring to the incident last December in the Fentale district. The dead were members of the Gada system of traditional governance practiced by the Oromo ethnic group, Ethiopia's largest.
Ethiopia will prosper.
Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed, who appointed the EHRC's chief commissioner, is the country's first Oromo ruler, but has come under criticism from Oromo nationalists for, in their view, failing to sufficiently champion for their interests.
The people of Ethiopia continue to suffer greatly from ongoing conflict and bloodshed.
The security situation in Ethiopia has got the region and the United Nations worried.
I make the strongest possible appeal for all parties in Ethiopia for an immediate cessation of hostilities.
Since November 2020, pro-government forces in Ethiopia have confronted rebels led by the Tigray People's Liberation Front, the former rulers in the Tigray region. The conflict has led nearly 40% of people in the region to suffer an extreme lack of food, according to the United Nations.
And this can allow for effective humanitarian access and relief to all affected populations throughout Ethiopia. And these actions will help pave the way to a much-needed inclusive national dialogue involving all Ethiopians.
Kenya has weighed in on the situation of its northern neighbor. In his statement Tuesday, President Uhuru Kenyatta notes that the promise of a peaceful, secure and stable Ethiopia will only be realized by the ability of all parties in the country to surmount challenges in ways that are both sustainable and acceptable to the people of Ethiopia.
I reiterate my appeal to all parties to follow the finest tradition of the Olympic spirit, to save lives, overcome differences, and find the path to real peace.
He calls on all an inclusive national dialogue conducted in the spirit of compromise and accommodation that will go a long way in easing the burden of conflict to all the affected communities throughout Ethiopia. President Kenyatta has called on the people of Ethiopia in the spirit of the Olympic truce to embrace peace and pave the way for genuine reconciliation. He says that the prosperity of Ethiopia, the region and indeed the continent has to be anchored in an enduring peace and security and a firm belief that together we all can create a better world.